guys, in this next video I'm going to show you how to round to the nearest 10. So just before I get started on these examples, I want you to think of the 10 times table. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and so on. Because when we round numbers to the nearest 10, we're just rounding them to a number in the 10 times table that it's closest to. So if we take the first one, number 23, the two numbers in the 10 times table that are closest to 23 are 20, which is the smaller one, and 30, which is the bigger one. Hopefully you can already see which of these two numbers is closest to 23. It's actually 20. But if you're not sure which one it's closest to, then you must look at the last digit here, which is 3, and decide if you're rounding up or down. Now, just remember, when you're rounding normally to significant figures or decimal places, when you see the number 5 or any number bigger than 5, you always round up. And if the number's smaller than 5, then you don't round up. Well, here, the last digit is smaller than 5, which means, in this case, we round down. And that's why the number is 20. So in the next one, the two numbers in the 10 times table that fall either side of 46 are 40 and 50. And because the second digit is larger than 5, that means we have to round up. So if we're rounding that number to the nearest 10, we get 50. Now, I'm going to do exactly the same thing with this number 97, and I'm going to write down the two numbers in the 10 times table that are either side of this number. So the smaller one is 90, and the larger one is 100. So you can probably see which one's closest to 97, but if you're not sure, check that last digit, and because it's bigger than 5, it means we round up. So 100 is the answer. Now, just because the numbers are getting larger now, it doesn't matter, it's not getting more difficult. We're going to use exactly the same method. So I need to write down the two numbers in the 10 times table that are either side of this number here. So I've got 230 below and 240 above. So because the last digit is smaller than 5, it means we round down. So it's just 230. But like I've said before, sometimes you might just be able to spot and you can see that that number is just closer to 230, in which case you can just write that down straight away. You don't have to write out these numbers every time you do a rounding question. Alright, on to the top one. So again, I'm going to write down the two numbers in the 10 times table. The one that's smaller than this number is 450 and the one that's bigger is 460. And because the last digit ends in a 9, we have to round up. So the answer is 460. And you can see that that number is much closer to 460 than it is to 450. So that makes sense. Now on to the 1,000 questions. So it's still the same method. Write down the two numbers that are in the 10 times table, one that's smaller and one that's bigger. So for this one, it's 2,350 and that one's 2,360. Now, if you're not sure how to get these sometimes, the smaller one is just this number here, except the 9 is always replaced with a 0. And this number over here is just 10 more than that one. So if I add 10 to this one, it takes me to here. And because the last digit is a 9, it means we're rounding up. So the answer is 2,360. Now for the final question, exactly the same to finish. Write down the two numbers either side that are in the 10 times table. So remember, the smaller one is just this number, but replacing the 5 with a 0. And then the bigger one is just this number plus 10. So the last digit is a 5, which means we always round up. So the final answer on this final question is 4,400. So there's rounding to the nearest 10. Just look out for your last digit in the number is always going to be 0. So if for some reason your answer doesn't end in a 0, you know you've done it wrong. So go back and check. So that's rounding to the nearest 10. I hope you understand that now. In my next video, I'll do rounding to the nearest 100 and after that, rounding to the nearest 1,000. So goodbye for now.